Start as Chaos Demon and join the chat group. Chapter 14, the battle continues. No, there are monsters coming, get out of the way. Yu Yan saw a monster rushing in front of him and hurriedly said to Tachibana. The two of them are worthy of being the guards of Queen Amaterasu. They have good spaceship driving skills and can handle the monsters with ease. Well, why don't we land quickly? I can't fight on the spaceship. Saitama looked at the monsters around him and wanted to fight, but he couldn't fly, so he could only watch. Okay, land now. Yu Yan nodded and landed the spaceship. Be careful, there are more monsters coming. Gagra on the side reminded. Seeing that the monster was about to hit the spaceship, a ray of light flashed and blew up the monster in front of it. Then, a huge figure appeared on the battlefield. Is that Dinah? Deku was fighting a monster, and suddenly saw a familiar figure. He recalled the plot here, and then saw the figure in front of him, and he had the answer in his heart. It was the Space Street Kid Dinah. However, the Dinah in this world is obviously not the Dinah in his own world. There is also Dinah in his own world, but he is still fighting on Earth. This Dinah is obviously the Dinah that wandered around after the battle on Earth ended. Senior Tika. After Dinah appeared, he was also stunned to see Tika fighting the monster in the field. He didn't expect to see Ultraman Tika here. Tika is Dinah's predecessor. Asuka was confused for a while. Facing an enemy that he couldn't defeat, he once lost confidence. It was the former captain of the victory team, Kei Iruma, who enlightened him. Kei Iruma told him a lot about Tika, and in the end he was saved by Tika, the embodiment of the light of hope in the hearts of mankind, so Dinah's heart is full of gratitude for Tika, the predecessor. Don't be stunned, hurry up and solve the battle first. Tika saw that Dinah was a little dazed and couldn't help reminding him. Okay, Senior Tika. Dinah came back to his senses, got ready for battle, and started the battle. Although Orb is basically a character who gets beaten, the other two are veterans. Seeing that the three Ultramen have basically controlled the situation, Gigula and others decided to go directly to Kahiki's base to find Yu Yan and their captain. Saitama is basically here to play a supporting role. If he takes action, I'm afraid that all the monsters will be wiped out with a serious punch. So Kai told him before that it is better not to take action unless it is absolutely necessary. So he was silent throughout the whole process and followed Gigula and others to the base. When everyone arrived at the base, they were immediately surrounded by a group of human-sized monsters. We will hold them back, and you two go find your captain. Hey, little bald head, since you came with another Ultraman, you should have some strength. Let's stop them together. Gigula took out his snake heart sword, and while ordering Yu Yan and the others, he asked Saitama. Oh, I should be fine, but when I came here, Kai told me to try not to take action. You don't have to worry about me. Saitama touched his bald head and said helplessly. It's up to you, just don't bother me for a while. Gigula was stunned when he heard this, and then reminded. Then you two stay here for a while, we will come to help you when we find the captain. Tachibana nodded and immediately continued to move forward with Yu Yan. It's time to go up, be careful. Seeing Yu Yan and the others leave, Gigula tightened the snake heart sword in his hand and said to Saitama, who was a little dazed. Oh. Saitama nodded and followed suit to start the battle. Is this guy reliable? Gigula saw Saitama's careless look and couldn't help but have veins on his forehead. This guy is full of flaws, is he reliable? No longer entangled in these, now he can only choose to trust the other party. Gigula directly raised his sword and killed the monster. At this time, the monsters also completed the encirclement and attacked the two. While fighting, Gigula couldn't help but look at Saitama's situation. After all, he was brought here by Kai. Although he looks like a burden, no matter what, I will try my best not to let him die here. I saw several monsters rushing towards Saitama at the same time. This guy did not dodge or evade, but punched the monster in front of him directly. Then something happened that made Gigula drop his jaw. Saitama punched the monster in front of him directly, and then punched the other two monsters at the same time. It seems that I still underestimated you. Seeing this, Gigula retracted his gaze and began to fight seriously. After a long time, the two of them solved all the small monsters. Yu Yan and Tachibana also came back, followed by a middle-aged man, who was their captain Senluo. Master, we rescued the captain. Yu Yan smiled at Gigula not far away, and walked towards Gigula at the same time. Be careful. At this time, Gigula saw another monster appear above Yu Yan, and rushed over to hug Yu Yan in his arms, but he was successfully attacked by the monster and injected with puppet poison. Master. Are you okay? Yu Yan was shocked and hurriedly supported Gigula, shouting anxiously. Don't come over. Stay away from me. Gigula struggled to get rid of Yu Yan, and asked her to stay away from him, so as not to lose control and hurt the other party. It's puppet poison. Senluo saw this and understood that this was Beelzebub's puppet poison. Don't erode my body anymore, don't. Gigula held the blade with his hand, trying to relieve his controlled body with severe pain. At this time, more monsters surrounded them. Everyone faced the monsters and the out-of-control Gigula at the same time, and they were a little overwhelmed for a while. You guys deal with these monsters, leave Gigula to me, Kai and the others will be here soon. Saitama said at this time. At present, only Saitama can subdue Gigula, so everyone has no objection. Alas, it's really troublesome, and we can't hurt him. Although Saitama took it all, he was a little helpless when facing Gigula. It's not that he can't beat the opponent, but he should try not to hurt him. After all, he is Kai's friend. At this time, Gigula was also completely controlled, holding the snake heart sword and slashing at Saitama. Although Saitama is very powerful, he has to dodge in order to avoid Gigula from getting hurt. Otherwise, even if Gagra chops a few times, it won't be a problem for his body, but Gagra will be injured. Avoiding Gagra's snake heart sword, Saitama directly grabbed the opponent's arm with his backhand and controlled Gagra's hands. No matter how hard Gagra tried, he couldn't break free from Saitama's hands. After all, the difference in strength between the two was too big. Boss Saitama, you have become a babysitter now, why not just blow up the talent base with one punch? In the live broadcast room, Tony looked at Saitama's restrained appearance and couldn't help but teasing. I want to, but I have to give Kai some growth, otherwise there will be no meaning for me to come here. Saitama said helplessly. Start as Chaos Demon and join the chat group. Chapter 15 Body Limiter. Everyone, we are here. At this time, Kai's voice came, and everyone looked over. Kai, Daegu, and Asuka, who had turned back into human bodies, finally came back. Gagra, cheer up. Kai defeated several besieged monsters and came to Gagra's side. Don't worry, he will be fine. Daegu came to Kai's side at this time, patted Kai's shoulder and said thoughtfully. Kai came back to his senses. He was too worried about Gagra just now and forgot that there was an antidote. Everyone close your eyes. At this time, Asuka shouted, and then raised the flashing sword in his hand. Light. A strong light came out, destroying all the surrounding monsters. Get out of here. At this time, Senluo hurried over, took off the pendant on his chest, and stuffed it into Gagra's mouth. It was the seed of the sacred tree, which could be used to remove the poison of Beelzebub. Gagra, who ate the seed of the sacred tree, fell to the ground in pain, and then finally regained consciousness. At this time, a light curtain appeared, and Kaiki's figure appeared. Daegu and Kai, who were familiar with the plot, did not care about Kaiki's nonsense. Anyway, they were going to Planet Ganon next, and they had no intention of listening to Kaiki's nonsense. By the way, will Ultraman Cosmos come out next? Tony's voice came from the live broadcast room. I heard that Cosmos is a kind warrior who often purifies monsters when he encounters them. If you ask me, just kill them directly. Monsters themselves are full of destructive desires. Ben continued Tony's words. You can't say that. There are good monsters. You can't kill them all with one stick. Conan retorted. So Cosmos has a kind form and a violent form. Uchiha Madara taunted, when you encounter a monster that can't be purified, just kill it directly, so it's called a kind ultra warrior. Tony. Conan. Daegu. Honkai. Wulyuki. Everyone, top understanding. At this time, after everyone was attracted by Kaiki's picture, Kaiki drove the spaceship away from here. Let's go, let's chase him. Kai called everyone and hurried to the spaceship. Let's go, I noticed that Kaiki had damaged the engine of the spaceship before, and now it has been repaired. Daegu, who was familiar with the original plot, said. That's great, so we can catch up with Kaiki. Captain Senluo was surprised to hear this. At this time, Kaiki's spaceship suddenly accelerated and teleported away directly. Okay, let's use the teleport function as well. Senluo commanded. During the teleportation process, everyone finally had time to chat. Senior Daegu, I didn't expect you to come here too. Asuka looked at Daegu and said with surprise. Asuka, this should be our second meeting. Daegu and Asuka shook hands. Second meeting? Have you met before? Saitama was puzzled when he heard this. Although he knew that this was not Asuka from Daegu's universe, he knew that there was also an Asuka in Daegu's world, but Daegu had always lived on Mars. Although the Super Victory team had a base on Mars, he had never met Asuka. When I was about to leave Earth, I met Asuka once. He seemed to have just joined TPC at that time. Daegu explained with a smile. Yes, Senior Daegu was my idol at that time. Asuka nodded. But I didn't expect Senior Daegu to be so young. I feel like we are not much different in age. Asuka asked in confusion. I'm not the Daegu of this world. In my world, there is another Asuka and Dinah. They came to this universe for some special reasons. Daegu didn't say much, just explained casually. Asuka nodded and didn't ask any more questions. Okay, let's take advantage of this time to give Kai some special training. Daegu looked at Kai on the side and decided to train him well. Sorry to bother you seniors, I will work hard. Kai nodded vigorously. The crowd left 2 people to operate the spacecraft, and the others came to the training room together. Let's start first. Daegu said first. Looking at the 2 people fighting, Gigula came to Saitama. What kind of alien are you? You are so powerful. I feel like I am not your opponent. Gigula rarely admits defeat, but when facing Saitama, he feels that he cannot resist. Although he was controlled before, he still remembers what happened, so he is very clear about the oppression he felt when facing Saitama. I am just an ordinary earthling. Saitama was stunned when he heard this, and then replied. Impossible, how can an earthling be so powerful? How did you train? Although you don't have any skills, your physical fitness is extremely strong. Gigula's first reaction was disbelief. Although he had never seen an earthling in the universe, he had heard about it from other aliens who had visited the Earth. Many aliens have the impression that earthlings are weak, cunning, greedy, and selfish, etc. But the person in front of him, although he does look like an earthling, how could he be an earthling? I am really from Earth, but like Daegu, I am not from this universe. If you want to know how I exercise, it is 100 push UPS, 100 sit UPS, and 100 squats every day, plus a 10-kilometer long distance run. I persisted for 3 years and became what I am now. Saitama answered seriously. Are you kidding? Gigula didn't believe it, but after this short contact, he felt that he was not a person who would lie. But in any case, this matter is too simple. He is right, Gigula. At this time, Kai, who had finished training with Daegu, came to the 2 and said to Gigula with a smile. Because he knew Saitama's experience, Kai knew very well that Saitama became so powerful. Although it sounds incredible, it is true. By the way, why can Saitama become so powerful in this way? Is there anything we don't know? Uchiha Madara suddenly asked in the live broadcast room. He has always attached great importance to the method of becoming stronger. Everyone didn't understand, so they had to look at Shichen. Shichen, there are many aspects to this matter. On the one hand, Saitama himself is the son of luck in their world, so it is easy for him to break the body limiter. On the other hand, the area where he is located is an area where weirdos often appear. Being able to complete a 10-kilometer long distance run in such an area and persist for 3 years is not something that ordinary people can do. What is this limiter? Tony understood a little. Although it seems that there are two aspects, it is mainly the bonus of the son of luck that allows him to break the human body limiter. But he still doesn't know about this limiter. Every creature has an invisible limiter in its body. As long as you exceed the limit of the body, you can break the limiter, but this method is not suitable for everyone, and there are side effects. Just like Saitama, his side effect is hair loss. After everyone thought about it, Shichen continued, after saying so much, it is actually the same as practicing martial arts. These are also methods used to break the body limiter. But compared to Saitama's method, it is more stable and simple, but it takes a little longer. Start as Chaos Demon and join the chat group. Chapter 16 The Decisive Battle. While everyone was chatting, the spaceship had followed CAIZI's spaceship to the planet Ganon. Originally, according to the original plot, CAIG would arrive here in advance and threaten the entire planet, asking Queen Amaterasu to transform into the god of war. According to legend, Queen Amaterasu and Beelzebub were born together in the divine tree of life. One is the guardian, the other is the destroyer, and the two are sisters. Damn it, didn't I destroy the teleportation engine of their spaceship? Why did they catch up so quickly? CAIG looked at the Sac spacecraft following closely behind him and couldn't help but said angrily. Although this made him have some miscalculations, it did not affect his plan, except that he no longer threatened Queen Amaterasu. His purpose is to transform Queen Amaterasu into the god of war, and then inject the puppet virus into each other's bodies with Beelzebub, thereby detonating the god of war and spreading the virus throughout the universe. Destroying the Tree of Life will trigger the transformation of Queen Amaterasu, thus forcing the god of war out. However, all these things were eventually destroyed by Jagula. According to the original plot, because of the death of his apprentice Yuyan, Jagula felt that the war was caused by the Tree of Life, so he cut down the Tree of Life. However, others did not agree with Jagura's approach, which created a gap between Jagura and Kai. Kai, do you agree with Jagula's original approach now? In the live broadcast room, everyone was thinking about the next plot, but Madara suddenly asked Kai. Although I understand Jagura to some extent, this is not in line with the behavior of the Warrior of Light. That's why Jagura will not be selected by the Light of Orb, so that I, a person who is not as good as him, will be selected. Kai, after a moment of silence, he said slowly. No one said anything else, because CAIG had already launched an attack on planet Ganon. Seeing the talented monster army, everyone transformed into Ultraman and went to fight. The Sac spacecraft also landed on the planet Ganon, and the others went to fight the monster army together. At this time, a light suddenly appeared in the universe, and then a blue and white Ultraman appeared. Seeing this, everyone understood that it was Ultraman Gauze who also came to support. Even so, there were too many talented monsters, and Queen Amaterasu had to transform into the god of war in order to protect the Tree of Life, but she always protected it passively. This Queen Amaterasu is so naive. Even Ultraman, the guardian of peace, knows that only strong power can protect peace, but she only wants to solve the problem through negotiation. A powerless person, the only thing waiting for them on the planet is to be dominated by the strong, but she always wants to rely on the other party's mercy. Madara couldn't stand it anymore, thinking that Queen Amaterasu was taking it for granted. Although we often play opposite, this time I am on your side. Without the protection of power, it will only be the fate of letting others invade. Tony agreed after hearing this. For this kind of thing, he has the most say. The Earth in the Marvel Universe is often invaded by aliens, and it relies on a group of superheroes to save it. Without these superheroes, I'm afraid the Earth would have fallen long ago. Maybe, this is the real Virgin. Conan thought for a while and said, the Virgin is not a derogatory term. It represents the determination to protect everything and the ability to sacrifice oneself for others. This is a great person. However, the reality is often very cruel, and not your sacrifice will have the same results. The reason why the Kingdom of Light is feared and appreciated by many people in the universe is because of their powerful power. The cosmic people with evil intentions are afraid of the Kingdom of Light, and the peaceful cosmic people are grateful to the Kingdom of Light. Although the Kingdom of Light has been invaded several times over the years, many cosmic races still believe in the Kingdom of Light. This is strength. The sense of security it brings. Why does it have to be so troublesome? Why don't I just give that talent a punch? Saitama looked at the people in the battle and muttered while making soy sauce. Wait a minute, Saitama-senpai, let me communicate with Queen Amaterasu first. Kai was shocked when he heard this and said quickly to Saitama. If Saitama comes to her, Queen Amaterasu will probably be very sad. After all, the god of war transformed by Queen Amaterasu and Queen Kuan of Beelzebub were both born on the Tree of Life. They are both sisters. Queen Amaterasu, please don't do this again. Please fight back quickly. They will not show mercy because of your weakness. Kai shouted to Queen Amaterasu while fighting. Haha, I didn't expect that Kai, the gentle fool, would think so thoroughly. Jagula smiled when he heard this, as if he was meeting Kai for the first time. You, what are you doing? Ga said quickly when he saw this. He has always respected Queen Amaterasu's decision. After all, as a loving ultra warrior, he understands Queen Amaterasu. But the difference is that Gauze does not blindly condone his enemies, he also has an angry state. Gauze, don't you understand yet? With Queen Amaterasu's character, I'm afraid she won't attack Conan no matter what. She only wants to compromise. Kai responded. But, We still have to respect Her Majesty the Queen's decision. Her Majesty the Queen and I have the same mood. We both want a way to solve the problem peacefully. Gauze paused, but still couldn't help but say, Queen Amaterasu, do you really understand talent? Do you really understand Conan? Since you know that the god of war and Beelzebub were born from the tree of life together, but one is called guardian and the other is called destruction, you should understand what they mean. Conan has represented evil from the beginning. Kai looked at the hesitant Queen Amaterasu and couldn't help but speak out. If it was the original him, he would definitely not do this, because he didn't know all this. But now he is familiar with the plot and has long understood the evil of talent. This must be solved through fighting. The enemy will not show mercy because of your weakness. But, pulled by talent, so she planned to talk to Conan and let her give up attacking the tree of life. That's all Cohen's conspiracy. Don't believe that guy. Kai understood that this was Cohen's conspiracy. The other party just wanted to deceive Queen Amaterasu and inject her with the puppet virus. Seeing that Queen Amaterasu was still walking towards Cohen, Kai had no choice but to fight while preparing to rescue Queen Amaterasu at any time. Watching the god of war constantly approaching him, Cohen finally released his fangs. The poison needle behind it passed through the ground and came directly to the back of Queen Amaterasu, ready to inject the puppet virus into her body. Swish. At this moment, a lightsaber attacked from not far away, interrupting Cohen's attack. Everyone looked over and found that it was Tika, who had been forgotten by everyone. Tika, who was familiar with the plot, had long been prepared for Cohen's sneak attack, and directly interrupted Cohen's sneak attack with a lightsaber in his hand. This. Cohen, why, aren't we sisters? Queen Amaterasu said painfully. She finally understood that Cohen would not stop because of her compromise, but would only become more aggressive. Your Majesty Queen Amaterasu, leave it to us next. Only by defeating them completely can you protect your people. Kai took the opportunity to persuade. Start as Chaos Demon and join the chat group. Chapter 17, A Serious Punch. Damn Ultra Warriors, they always ruin my plan. In the spaceship, Caichi was almost angry. Everyone, let's end this. Kai said, and flew back. Everyone, understood. Seeing this, Dagu seemed to understand something, and silently retreated far away like Kai. Senior Tika, what are you doing? Aren't you going to kill them all at once? Asuka was stunned, and then asked in confusion. You will understand soon. Dagu didn't say it clearly, but just thought about it. Everyone, stay away. Senior Saitama, it's up to you. Kai said, while unfolding the ultra barrier, blocking everyone. Using the hardest tone, doing the most cowardly action. Dagu followed closely behind to protect others. Gao Sai and Dinah didn't understand, but out of trust in Kai, they still retreated together, but did not unfold the ultra barrier, just blocking everyone. Seeing that it was finally time for him to appear, Saitama finally started to be serious. Oh, Boss Saitama is going to make a move. Conan said excitedly. Watch carefully and learn well. Madara said only this. Saitama sprinted and came directly between Ultraman and the monster, clenching his fist facing the monster. What's going on? Do these Ultra Warriors want to escape? Kahiki was puzzled, but he didn't care, and continued to order the monster army to attack. Seriously, one punch. Saitama's cloak moved without wind, and a pair of red gloves on his hands were clenched. As Saitama's voice fell, powerful power gathered in his right hand, and a power that everyone could not understand appeared. A fist wind instantly came out from his right hand, forming a huge air cannon. Then, a large vacuum area appeared in front of Saitama, covering all the monsters together. In an instant, all the monsters, including Kahiki's spaceship in the air, disappeared into the air together. Not only that, even the air was directly hit and dissipated, forming a large vacuum area. In the area in front of them, there were even black cracks, with strands of lightning-like substances on them. This was the appearance of space being cracked, and behind it was the unknown and dangerous black hole space. After Saitama's attack, it took about a few seconds before endless impact force appeared in front of everyone. This was because Saitama had blown up the air in front of him before, causing the air in front of him to squeeze to the sides and behind him. Fortunately, Kai and Daigo had opened the ultra barrier in advance, otherwise the aftermath of this attack would be enough to kill everyone at the scene except Ultraman. At this time, Gao Sai and Dinah felt what Kai and Daigo meant, and they didn't have time to think about it, so they quickly opened the ultra barrier and blocked everyone. Everyone, hold on. Otherwise, everyone is finished. Kai shouted loudly. Oop, Senior Tika, where did you find this friend? Why is he so powerful? Dinah was in great pain, and couldn't help asking while supporting the ultra barrier. So, didn't you see how much respect Senior Tika and I had for Senior Saitama? Kai couldn't help but complain at this time. Don't say so much, just hold on, it will be fine soon. After all, Dagu is an old senior and the strongest Ultraman present, so he directly stood at the front and couldn't help but say it at this time. The strong air pressure lasted for more than 10 seconds. Everyone felt that the strong impact disappeared, and then the ultra barrier was cancelled. Shua. In an instant, all the ultra warriors turned into rays of light, fell directly to the ground, and turned back into human bodies. Finally, it's over. Higula looked at Saitama not far away with complicated eyes, and his heart was full of mixed feelings. Saitama still had a blank expression on his face. He actually didn't know what the people behind him had experienced. He only saw him finish his pose, then retracted his fist and slowly turned around. What's wrong with you? Why are you all sleeping on the ground? Saitama scratched his bald head and felt very confused. Everyone. Our big brother Saitama is still so thick-skinned. In the live broadcast room, Conan couldn't help but hold his forehead. We all know him, and we know that he definitely didn't mean it, it's just too discouraging. Tony couldn't help but complain. Uchiha Madara, Wulayoki, Agree. Next time. Saitama Sr. takes action, I will definitely stay 10,000 meters away in advance. Kai staggered to his feet, not forgetting to complain. If I had known it was so simple, I would have just let Mr. Saitama solve it. Asuka also stood up, looking at Kai and said slowly. Kai shook his head, didn't say much, and quickly came to Gigula. Gigula, are you okay? Kai patted Gigula's shoulder. He was afraid that the other party would be stimulated. He has always known that Gigula is very competitive and wants to get power very much, so after seeing Saitama's power, he is afraid that Gigula will explode. Don't worry about me, Kai, he is the target I will chase in the future. Gigula shook his head, tightened the snake heart sword in his hand, and said with a firm look. Shaking his head, Kai didn't know how to persuade Gigula to give up this idea. Then, Kai turned his head and looked at Queen Amaterasu. Kuin. Queen Amaterasu has also turned back to her human form. Looking at the direction where Kuin disappeared, she couldn't help but feel sad alone. Your Majesty, since the talent has been destroyed, we should do the aftermath work for the people. At this time, the general and Captain Mori came to Queen Amaterasu and proposed the aftermath work to her. This war caused great damage to planet Ganon, and the people were also in a panic. It was time to do the aftermath quickly. You two can take care of these things, and you don't have to report to me. Queen Amaterasu nodded and agreed to the two's proposal. The two then bowed to Queen Amaterasu, and then led their warriors to work. Senior Saitama, thank you this time. Kai came to Saitama and said to Saitama. Nothing, I forgot that you were still around. I would have collected it earlier. I didn't expect to cause you so much trouble. Saitama touched his bald head and said embarrassedly. Shaking his head, Kai didn't care. Everyone, we are almost leaving. At this time, Dagu came over and said to the two. That's right, I really troubled you two. Kai was stunned when he heard the words, and hurriedly thanked him. Nothing, we are not only Ultra Warriors, but also group members. If there is anything in the future, just tell us directly. Dagu shook his head and smiled. Senior, are you leaving? At this time, Asuka and Musashi also came to the front of several people, looking at Dagu and said. Yes, since the matter is over, we have to go back to our own world. Dagu nodded. In this case, we have to leave too. I was thinking about communicating with Senior Dagu. Asuka nodded and said with regret. It doesn't matter, there will be a chance in the future. Dagu patted Asuka on the shoulder and said. After saying hello to everyone, Dagu and Saitama directly opened the chat group transmission and returned to their own world. In this case, I will also close the live broadcast here. See you later. Kai also said in the live broadcast room, and then closed the live broadcast room.